Hello, I'm FGX Toycat and welcome back to episode of my Minecraft Bedrock Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the weekly update as to what's been going on in both my survival world and of course in the real world as well. And in today's episode I'm going to be in the end because you might recall if you watched my Broken World video how basically an Ender Dragon spawned out of nowhere. It's funny because as I was talking about how my world was broken, it broke some more and a random Ender Dragon appeared without any of my doing and it broke a lot of my end, which is covered in glass if you don't know, which is a really cool thing until an Ender Dragon spawns. And that's why I decided I'm just not going to fight the Ender Dragon again. But in the time since I covered my end in glass, I've actually kind of wanted another end portal kind of badly. I don't even know entirely why. I just decided like, what just happened? What is, what just happened there? But yeah, I've decided that I really want to have more end portals because I only have two. One goes to my legacy end and one goes to what is kind of my big searchy end. I'd love to have a third and maybe even a fourth, but I highly doubt that. At least a third kind of portal. And that's why I figure if the end's broken anyway, before fixing it, why not break it some more? You know the old slogan, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, if it is broken, why fix it anyway? Why not break it some more? Wait, if it ain't fixed, why don't broke it? There you go. Reverse that around, show you who's boss. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some, okay, I don't know what's happening all over this world, but weird things are just happening time after time after time again. There's lag, there's creepers, there's lots of things to be concerned about, and in today's video, I'm hopefully not going to be adding to that list. So we're going to grab some glass because we need that both for, of course, fixing the end when we do that, but also we're going to need it to make some end crystals because although I used to make end crystals a lot, I used to have a lot of them lying around. Also, I think we just leave that door open, right? But yeah, I used to make end crystals a lot because my figuring was like, oh yeah, what you could do back in Legacy console days is you could respawn your end, and then when you respawned your end, you got your fresh dragon again, and when you kill the dragon for the first time, as I'm sure you already know, you get like 67 levels, something like that. It's a lot of levels, and I figured, you know, it's better to get 67 levels than another end portal because that's kind of the trade-off. You get a end gateway if you kill the second dragon, but you get less experience, whereas when you kill your first dragon, you get like literally 100 times more experience or something. So I always made the trade-off in the wrong direction, and today we're going to be making it the other way, which is going to be kind of fun. Also, to fight the dragon while minimizing damage to my end, I'm going to go ahead and just craft myself a bunch of fireworks, as well as taking some from my secret special. It's not really secret stash, there's no such thing as a secret stash in a survival world, but in my special stash. And then, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our ghast tears, which we have far too much of, partly because of my extended time in the nether recently. We're going to take some blaze powder, we're going to make some IF enders from these ender pearls, and then we've got ourselves a thing. Just in case you've never, there we go, some blaze rods. Just in case, by the way, you've never made end crystals before, in case you've never respawned your ender dragon, well boy, today you're going to see something fun, aren't you? Because you need to use IF enders, you take some glass, you take some blaze powder, and then you should find some end crystals. Although I don't, so clearly I'm doing it wrong. Oh, I didn't mix the IF enders together. So you take some IF enders, and then boom, you can make end crystals, which look like this. These are really popular on PvP servers because they make huge explosions, and if you're hacking the game anyway, then explosions are one of the few ways you can actually kill someone. Also, they're really good for griefing. So they're a griefing tool that also, can cut through a lot of the protection enchantments people have. So of course they're very popular, but they're also useful if you're going to do something in the end, which again, you've probably guessed by the fact that I said it and it's happening, but that's what we're doing today. So let's take our fireworks rockets and let's do this. And if you've never seen my slip and slide entrance to my end portal, then again, it's something I really like. It's such a small thing, but it does make me happy every time I see it. And honestly, every time I do it too, because there aren't many joyful moments in life, but one of the few ones you'll always find is the slip and slide. Oh, go! When it works, that is, at least. So I should probably work on that, make sure that works better. But here we can see we're back in the end. We're going to take our end crystals. We're going to place them around our end portal. It's always terrifying when a thing shows up. I believe you do so like this. I probably should check before doing this, but again, it's been a few years, maybe a couple years. But you know, this is probably right. We place 4 of them like that, and then what happens is magically 4 end crystals equal 1 end dragon. And yeah, as you can see, very wacky. It's going to respawn the end crystals, which, oh, this destroys so much more than I was ready to deal with. Oh man, this hurts. This hurts my mind, this hurts my soul. I did not realize we were going through this much. Have you ever had to do so much work and then had the game destroy the work for you? Because if you haven't, then you don't know the pain I'm going through right now. Okay, we're going to destroy the end crystals before the dragon gets back. Oh, I don't have a proper range attack with me, because I didn't even think about this for some reason. Okay, do we have snowballs? We don't. We need to get out of here. Except I can't because I just respawned the dragon, right? Oh yeah, we can't. We need to deal with this dragon. We need to deal with it now. Except I don't have a range attack. Oh! Just got totemed undying because I got splash attack 3 times in a row. So now I don't even have a way to save myself. This might have been a mistake. It's been so long since I fought the dragon in my survival world that I'm just genuinely not properly prepared for this. And it's destroying my end as we go along too. But that's fine. Yeah, honestly, because I've got fireworks, I can just spot... honestly, you know, this is my pro tip. You don't need fireworks. Sorry, you don't need to take down the towers as long as you've got some fireworks, because you can just chase the dragon, I reckon. And as long as we chase the dragon enough between runs, then we should be golden, right? No, this is a terrible idea. Why am I doing this? Okay, this isn't working at all. Everything I know is a lie, and everything I'm working towards is just, it's not working for me. So what we'll do instead is the best counter technique, because these towers right here, they deal a lot of damage when they explode, but that damage isn't necessarily dealt if there's something to block the explosion from you. So if you do something like this, for example, maybe like, there we go, as you can see, instead of killing me, which it can often do, because we've got a block in the way, that absorbs a lot of the explosion, and, you know, counterintuitive, it means we can destroy them pretty easily. So yeah, we're going to take down these towers because they are the source of the dragon's strength. I think we could probably even, no, this is, oh, hello. That's a good fun, good fun little time right there. Do the same over here. Break ground there, perfect. And we just do this enough times till it's over. I hope the dragon didn't destroy the beacon, by the way. Or was that was probably me, right? I hope, oh yes, we've got to pay a closer eye to the Ender Dragon, I reckon. This is getting, like, genuinely terrifying for me now. Like, having the totem dying makes it basically impossible to die, but in the course of, like, 10 minutes of this Let's Play, we've gone from, oh yeah, it's basically impossible to die, to like, oh god, what if we die? I'm not ready to die, you know? And there's so much of my end that has to be repaired. This was such a bad idea that I'm, like, stuck into. But, you know, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's good even, you know? It's a good experience. It's a growing experience. Who doesn't like growing? Growing's, like, top 10 favorite things to do, in my opinion. Oh god, that blew up! I didn't know that... Honestly, I didn't know the end crystals were burning. So in today's episode, as soon as we're done with our Minecraft crisis, there's a couple of really important things I want to talk about. One is a recent trending, but also very controversial video that has a certain portion of the internet up in arms with me. And second of all, is something kind of new that I want to do that's a little bit terrifying to me, but maybe not to everyone else. But I want to talk about that too, as soon as we're done with this whole crisis thing. But yeah, we've gotten rid of all of the towers besides one. We can deal with this one pretty easily if we want to, because we should have an ender pearl remaining, right? I hope that's what we've got. So yeah, we just take out the ender pearl, and then if we ender pearl in there... Oh god, that was the worst! This is the worst! Am I gonna die from this? Okay, as long as we don't die... We died. Okay, we've grabbed some food, and that's about all we're going to take. Actually, we'll throw away the magma cream for now. We'll just take some food in there. We'll charge, we'll get our stuff. There's a lot of value in that stuff that I really, really, really would rather not lose. By the way, this whole situation, to me at least, proves the sometimes inconsistency of Bedrock. Like, what used to happen is that used to be the best way to take down a tower, because you'd throw the ender pearl, the explosion would happen, and then you'd be teleported, avoiding all but the 2.5 hearts that you got from the damage. Whereas what seems to have happened there, the fact that that killed me, is I teleported onto the flame, I took the 2.5 hearts, and then it exploded with me at the epicenter of the explosion, which, you know, obviously would kill you with almost every situation. I'm very lucky that I had some armor on, but the fact that, you know, like, they've switched the order of those events, or, you know, the fact that those events are happening in an undetermined order, it's pretty concerning, because it lit me on fire. It killed me in a situation I would like to believe I did not deserve, which can erase our stuff, by the way. Because I don't know if the end is still spawned in while you're not there. Because, fun fact, 5 minutes after you... obviously, 5 minutes after you drop an item, it despawns, but only 5 minutes after it's existed in your world. So this is why 8 hours later, after getting my, you know, stuff, I could still get it back. Also, I need to just, please don't hit me, dragon. I just want to get my stuff. That's all I'm going for today. You can deal with your nonsense later. So yeah, the first things I always recommend trying to go for is your armor, because you can slot it on in your inventory, and it's just a generally good idea to, oh god, we gotta get it on fast! Oh, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? Okay, I'm not gonna die. Oh, if I didn't have those boots on, I would, because I have the feather falling, right? So yeah, my end is a wreck right now. It's worse than a wreck, I would even go as far as to say. I should have brought a bow with me, but I don't need it anymore. I just need to kill this dragon and show her, him, it, who's boss. There's just so much glass gone. So much. But yeah, it's hilarious to me. One of the things I've always found most interesting about Minecraft Bedrock is it's the version which is available on the most platforms. It's the version they also available on phones, but it has the hardest boss fights, which, you know, you might be encountering right now. It's so loud. Okay, so it's simple enough now. We've taken down all the end pillars. We just kind of follow the dragon around until she dies. And in the meantime, she destroys a lot of my glass. I mean, is there really much left to destroy? I'd say no, but I don't know if I agree with that statement. Yeah, I'm actually going to follow the dragon around just a little bit, just because I really, really want her dead. Oh, you get critical hits while flying. Nice. But yeah, the funny thing is like, despite all the changes they've made to make the dragon harder, it's still really easy once you get the towers down. Like, the only real challenges, and also it's still very glitchy because the dragon's got such a big geometry, the developers decided to obviously make it so it can fly through blocks. That's true for every version, whether it's Bedrock, PlayStation, or you know, Java. Like, the dragon doesn't care about blocks, it just flies through them and breaks them if they're not obsidian, which is what glass is, fun fact. Which is why my end is a tragic mess. The good news is, though, if you're one of those people who enjoyed my placing glass for 90-minute streams, or you enjoyed just seeing the glass placement happen, you might have thought, oh, the project's over, it's never coming back now. But boy, do I have some news for you, because that is not the case at all. We have to waste a lot of these fireworks to attack the dragon, but it's worth it, because every block of glass we save is worthwhile to me. Oh, and just like this, by the way, we've officially killed the dragon. Oh no, I didn't want to go for the portal. Okay, it's fine. So we've killed the dragon again. We'll get the smaller, reduced amount of experience. And then we should also get a new end gateway. If we don't get the new end gateway, then I've just ruined my end for nothing. Oh, we get the... So for some reason, maybe because I haven't slain the dragon before, I got the initial amount of experience. This is amazing, and we can totally abuse this. Pro tip, don't pick up all the XP at once, because the more XP you have, the less levels you get per thing. Instead, what you want to do is bring an enchantment table to the end with you, which I hope we can do right now. Okay, I'm just going to take my enchanting table and all of the bookcases that come along with it that I have out here and never use anyway because it's all in my anvil room. We're also going to take a bunch of lapis lazuli and some books if we can find them. I guess we've got some leather and we've got paper, if not. Really, I've used up all my books. Huh. Well, I guess it sucks, but I'll have to craft some paper, which is a shame, because I've got such a shortage. People were upset because last week I did something that required... Yeah, I could have used one paper if I had a cartography table, but instead I used 8, and it's like, oh no, I've got a real shortage of paper. I don't actually know where the paper's stored. I guess it's over here. I've got a real shortage of paper in this world, don't I? Like, I've got to really watch my use of that, or we're going to run out entirely. And it's like, that's a joke. That's clearly, you know, I clearly have a lot of sugarcane for a reason. If I want to be wasteful of sugarcane, I'll be wasteful of sugarcane. I made a whole video that was basically like, hey, the more wasteful you are in Minecraft, the cooler you are. Which, I mean, it's not actually true, but it's a fun meme to pretend it's true, right? I thought it was just leather and paper to make books, but I could be... Oh no, I can't see the book icon. The book icon doesn't really look like a book, in my defense. But yeah, now we take some more leather, which I have absurd amounts of because of my cow farm, as you might expect. And then we can do the same thing again. And now we got as many books as we're ever going to need. We take these to the end really quickly. Again, we don't know how long that, if that timer has started yet. I'm 99% sure the end isn't loaded in when you're not in the end personally. But it's always better to be safe than sorry, right? Which can maybe bring us into the little first point I want to talk about today, because my video about the village extremism thing, it's something I've been working on for a really long time. If you've been watching these Let's Plays, I think I made vague references to it, because I didn't want to, like, you know, tease it or hype it, because it's the sort of thing where I really loved the idea, I really loved making it first, but then towards the end I was like, man, the longer I spend with an idea, the more I tend to hate it. That's why I like these Let's Plays. It's like, hey, I start recording and then we see what happens. Oh god, I don't know how I didn't hit full damage there. But That's why I kind of like these Let's Plays. It's kind of the reverse concept. We hit start and we see what happens, and sometimes what happens is a huge tragedy, and sometimes it's not, you know? It's there's a fun little balance. And yeah, that was a video I really enjoyed, and a lot of people really loved it too, especially the fans of this channel, which is honestly like my favorite audience to cater to anyway, if I'm being entirely honest. Okay, we're gonna make our thing real fast. We're gonna make the bookshelves right now. As many as we can to get up to level 30. Just kind of spam them out, just like, look at this, all the bookshelves you need. I think this is as many as we're going to want, but just in case, we'll place the 2 at the side there. Now what we do is we got to be really, really fast about this. We're just going to start enchanting books at level 30 as fast as we can. We just take every book, level 30, zoom through them. I guess when we get terrible ones, we could just skip and go like, hey, I'd rather have quick charge 1, as useless as that is. And yeah, the reason we're doing this is because, again, experience is usually, I guess we'll take it paling, because I needed that recently and I didn't have it. Protection 3, heck yeah, that can be combined with stuff. Aqua Affinity, I actually do want some of that. And yeah, we're going to zoom through the enchantments, and the reason we're doing this is because, oh, Blast Protection, again, might come in useful someday, is because I want to get a lot of enchantments, and the way experience works for killing your first Ender Dragon, again, this is only useful once in your Minecraft world, just to keep that in mind as I say this, is because every experience orb is worth a huge amount, but if you collect the orbs together, they're worth less. So I just got 42 again, as you just saw right there, and yeah, as long as we're really quick, again, because it can despawn if you're not quick enough, but as long as you're really, really quick with this, which we intend to be, although I'm picking up some without realizing it, as long as you're really quick with this, you can get a bunch of books enchanted, or a bunch of pickaxes or whatever else, but again, I only have books readily available, and it's pretty cool, right? Like, we can just load up on our books, we can get all the crazy enchantments going, and we can, instead of getting, because again, usually when you kill the dragon, you get 60-something levels, that would give you, what, 20 books? Yeah, no, if you're going down to level 30, it'd give you 10 books, whereas this way, whenever we get to that level, we just run up, we grab some more experience, and just like that, as you can see, we've now got even more, and we can kind of spam it all the way through. And the goal is just to see what haul we get from one Ender Dragon kill. Again, this only works for your first dragon kill because your first one's worth more, and usually we shouldn't end up in a situation where we do have one of those, but guess what? The game does not care about logic or... again, especially with a converted world of Minecraft Bedrock, there's a lot of things that just haven't been properly tested, is my understanding of events. So yeah, we got level 40, level 40, level 40, and now level 38, instead of getting level 60, which, again, you might think, like, it's not as impressive sounding. You don't get to impress your lady friends of how high your Minecraft XP bar is, and don't get me wrong, that is a huge consideration. But you know what else is a huge consideration? Being able to get so many enchantments from just one dragon kill. I think that's pretty cool, personally. Also, Bane of Arthropods. I want Depth Strider, so we'll wait till we get that, in fact. Boom, just like this, we now have a lot of enchanted books that I probably should have brought a shulker box just to contain, because that's a lot of them. We got Aqua Affinity, Projectile Protection, Quick Charge, Impaling, Fire Protection. We got 5 enchantments on this one book. I didn't know that was possible from a enchantment stand. I guess it's probably a Bedrock exclusive. We've got Respiration, Feather Falling, we got Impaling 4. See, that's solid. I can make a really good trident with that for killing ocean monuments, which I won't do anymore because I've already done that. Smite 4, pretty good. Feather Falling 4, really good. Channeling, pretty rare. Feather Falling and Blast Protection, this could make some really great boots, I reckon. Projectile Protection and Feather Falling, these could make some really good boots, I reckon. Or we could use Aqua Affinity to make a better helmet than we have right now. Although actually, you know, I would argue regular protection's way better. In fact, I wouldn't even argue, I would say it's fact. Piercing 3, great for a crossbow in theory. I'm not going to use it, but yeah, we got some good enchantments here. And we also got ourselves up to level 30, and I think I started the video at 20 and then died, so really, we did pretty well for ourselves, I would say. Tell me if you disagree, except don't, because you're wrong. Anyway, so now we've got to fix up the end, which is what we'll do while I talk about the serious stuff I want to talk about, because, yeah, I've been, I guess I'll warn you right now, there's going to be some serious stuff coming up. If you don't care about this channel, you might not care about what I have to say, and that's cool, you know. Like, you know, on the internet, there's a lot of personalities, most of whom you don't need to care about, and maybe even you shouldn't care about. You caring about them might feed their ego, which might lead them to do some very crazy stuff. We see insane stuff that, you know, quote-unquote influencers do every day because they're trying to be famous, they're trying to be recognized, cool, etc. Also, oh, we left an end crystal up. Is that useful to us? I'm not sure that it is or isn't. But oh, I need to see where my my last end portal went. But yeah, if you don't care about the rest of this video, that's cool. You know, like there's gonna be some stuff said, and you might not be down with all that stuff. Because, you know, it's mostly stuff you'd care about if you care about the channel, which again is non-obligation of yours. Oh, look, so here's the wackiest thing. Because it doesn't seem to recognize my other end gateway, it spawned one right nearby, which is really cool, but also a little bit nonsensical. So that's nice, I guess. I really don't know how to, like, properly react to this one. I guess I should make the thing from that island down there. Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. And we'll see what that is later. We'll leave that as a big mystery, a big unknown for now. But yeah, it's cool to see that we've got it. And in the meantime, we can patch up the end and talk about, yeah, two things. Because the first one is something that will affect you, because statistically speaking, you probably did watch my Extremist Village video, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. But there's a big section of the comments. I would say it's a big minority. It's the biggest minority, which is usually what gets the most attention in any situation, because, you know, positive praise is something that a lot of people just let fall off their backs. Like, you trust that people are lying, and, you know, to some extent, all praise is a societal lie, right? Like, the only reason someone praises you is not because something is objectively good, it's because they want to make you feel good about the thing. However, you know, like, that doesn't mean you shouldn't feel good about praise because they've decided to tell you something which they know will make you feel good, which they wouldn't do if you made something terrible, unless they liked you enough to do that anyway. And, you know, to some extent, I would argue, because everyone has this problem in real life, right? Where they're like, oh, I want compliments, but not from you. I know you'd want to give me compliments. And it's like, well, I mean, you know, this is something, this is why you see, most often girls, but sometimes guys, when you're young, being like, fishing for compliments, right? That's a phrase we have. And it's because a lot of people like to feel, a lot of people disregard compliments when they come from someone that they like. But to me, that seems absurd sometimes. You, of course, should also listen to criticism, and if there is any negativity, you should pay it attention. But the way most people operate is they hate, they disregard all praise, and then often a lot of people disregard criticism as hate. So I like to listen to criticism and I like to improve my videos, especially when it's a brand new concept like that. But so much of the criticism I got was people being like, hey, that's not true communism in your Minecraft video. And I know not true communism is a big, like, meme on the internet, like, oh yeah, you know, like, it's not true communism unless it's the one I have in my brain. But it's like, this was a video making fun of so many systems, and your takeaway from this whole thing that was just, let's make fun of, you know, many different events around the world using Minecraft, was actually you portrayed communism pretty unfairly. You know, in this video, where you literally just criticized every system, you should have been like, wow, communism sure is great, and it's the solution for all. And it's like, no, I don't think my video should be a way to dictate your ideology. Again, your extreme ideology, especially. And there's a whole group of people who are like, oh, I bet he didn't even study history because he clearly doesn't know all the communist regimes. And it's like, you know, I do study a lot of history, and that's why. And in fact, yeah, that's the biggest problem, right? When people selectively study history, when people selectively choose what to take from something, you end up with some wacky situations. Also, there is going to be I need to make a lot of glass to cover this gap. I did not realize just how many, like, thousands of blocks we're going to need to go through. It's going to be a big thing, isn't it? I think fixing my end is gonna take me some time, to say the least. And glass is not a cheap block. Like, it's a pretty hard block to come by, I would say, generally speaking. But yeah, so first of all, I want to say, like, thank you for all the praise. I am listening to it. I am also listening to all the feedback that isn't just like, hey, you insulted my ideology. And even the people that do feel super insulted, I try to work out why it is. Like, hey, you know, like, even though I think, like, for the most part, we shouldn't encourage people to be Nazis. We shouldn't encourage people to be communists. If you have those viewpoints, I'm not going to say, oh, you're so awful, and I'm going to disregard every point you have. I think we should listen to people, because the whole point of, like, you know, the whole way the modern democratic process works in the country you're probably watching this video from is like, hey, yeah, we've all got to work out our own ideas, then we've got to somehow collectivize those ideas, and we've got to, you know, make them into some whole that works for everyone. And that's why I think when you just disregard an entire section of the population, like some people do, it's not worthwhile for anyone. And that video, that video shouldn't have been political in the first place. But at least, even though it's, you know, basically just making fun of stuff and making jokes, I still want to try and, I still don't want to, like, I guess, throw away a whole bunch of people who are like, ah, well, this is that. Because I think, again, having everyone listen, not only is it important to listen to other people, but also trying to encourage people to listen to others. I think every single extreme belief, whether that be in terms of the school shooters, which are, you know, really prevalent right now, whether that be people in the early half of the 20th century who killed millions, whether you're talking Stalin, Mao, or Hitler, all of these people had these super extreme beliefs about ways they thought they could improve the world, right? And then when they implemented those things, they didn't listen to other people. They didn't compromise. They didn't, they used extreme tactics not to compromise, and that led to, the things that happened. And basically, I think it's important to, in the world we live in, rather than just joining in on like this was so bad, is to try and work out like, hey, we're all humans, and some humans do bad things. Why do those humans do bad things? That's the big conversation we've got to work towards. And it's sad that like one of the takeaways people have is like, oh well, my ideas are the solution to everything, and even this Minecraft video should incorporate my ideas, because it's one thing I've always thought, like there's like layers of tyranny, right? Because you find tyranny in all places, like whether that be on both sides of the political spectrum, whether that be in religion, whether that be in schools. Like literally, I'm sure everyone has a story with a teacher that just abused their authority. Like you get given the most minor amount of authority and you manage to abuse that. Like you literally can tell children what to do and you like to use that to, shape the world. Like it's a thing everyone's encountered at some point, right? Like tyrannical power. And I think it's always important to try and work out where and why and how to avoid that. Like I really, honestly, my main opinion, the only viewpoint I'll really ever project in these videos, because they're not political. People are always like, hey, you should use your platform to promote, the different, beliefs of this to children. Like, hey, Toy Cat, why aren't you converting your your audience to, communism? And again, even if that was my particular belief, I would not be forcing my opinion on you, because that's absurd, right? The only thing I will throw on this channel is like, hey, let's not be terrible to each other. That's the big political view, which I used to think like I would never have to be any form of political, but it's a thing that is a thing. Like that's the one opinion I try to get across here. Like, hey, let's not be terrible to each other, with the justification that at some point someone was terrible, so it's basically justified. Because generally speaking, it's not, right? Generally speaking. This is basically like the most common lesson that everyone learns of like, hey, just because someone hits you doesn't mean you should hit them back. An eye for an eye makes the world blind. Actually, I think that's a Gandhi quote. But anyway, is that a Gandhi quote? I could Google it, or we could pretend it's a Gandhi quote. Let's say Albert Einstein said that. That's what we're gonna say right now. And then I want to talk about my second thing, which is basically related to Albert Einstein, because me being the 4,000 IQ genius that we all know me to be, and that I totally claim to be all the time. According to my detractors, but I totally do not make fun of myself all the time. But one of the things that I've recently been thinking about is, I guess, did I shut the door on myself? I didn't. One of the things I've been thinking about recently, and we are really running low on glass. Like after this batch, we're gonna have to go smelt some more. It's gonna be a whole like let's go refix the end project. It's gonna be terrible. But one of the things. We should also grab a shulker box while we're here. One of the points of interest to me, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot this past week, is kind of big fears that people have, right? So I think, a lot of people might be fearful of, let's say, dying alone. Like dying without a romantic partner. This is a common fear that people have. And I mean, although I think, like, it's a very real late game fear in terms of like when you're 80 and your partner's 80, one of you is going to die about the other, right? There's a really cute thing where often like old couples, they die like one after another, which people say is a cute thing, but to me that's like, wait, so one of you, basically the equivalent, one of you basically killed yourself 2 days after the other one died. That's terrifying on its own little regime, like, so unable to live without each other that you just kill yourself. But sure, okay, that can be cute if you want it to be cute. if your definition of cute is unnecessary death again, sure, that can be a thing we consider cute. But yeah, the thing that the point where I find this to be wacky is that I think dying alone is such a common fear that I don't think it will be. Again, I think rather than fearing the things you're fearful of, you should fear the things that you don't fear of. And I know that sounds like such a counterintuitive statement, but it's kind of true, right? The things that you're terrified of, and the things collectively we're terrified of. Also, this like these maps. We make great strides towards, as a civilization, avoiding those things. After, again, like to go, if we're talking about early 20th century leaders, which, I mean, people like to do on the internet all the time, after the big wars happened, the leaders were like, those people were like, hey, we want anything besides more war. And that's why there was so many situations where a big war should have started between the USSR and the USA, but it didn't, just because both leaders at the time had seen what would happen and were like, hey, yeah, it's worth sacrificing this small thing if to avoid some war. Whereas World War One was basically the opposite. Like, a lot of leaders again, I'd love to make a whole video about World War One sometime, and you better believe there'll be a Minecraft video on it someday. But it basically started because a bunch of leaders wouldn't back down from something, and then millions of people died. And yet and therefore, after we had the big wars, we're like, hey, let's avoid these big things. I don't like war because a lot of my friends died, and no one wants their friends to die. Fun fact, I watched the movie about Tolkien, the guy who made modern day fantasy with Lord of the Rings, basically. But I watched a movie about him on a plane recently when I was on the way to Mexico. Wow, it all looked back together. And there were like 4 really good friends, and I think they were all gonna be writers and or like artists of some form. And 2 of them died in the war, and it's like, oh man, yeah. Imagine if it had just gone another way. Like the coin toss has gone slightly different. Oh, there's no Lord of the Rings anymore. I don't know why that like stuck with me so much, but the idea that like the things we fear as a society, the things we fear collectively, generally we make good steps at avoiding. Like, again, for example, like the fear of like getting old and being super lonely. Meals on Wheels, I don't know if it's a charity or what, I've been meaning to look into it for some time. But like there are so many charities set up basically to be like, hey, if you're old and if you're by yourself, you're scared of, we're scared of dying alone, so we help old people that we are scared will die alone, because we have like that empathetic kind of thing of like, I don't want this to happen to me, so I want to avoid this happening to someone else. But the things we don't fear are the things we probably should fear to some extent. Like, no one talks about pensions, for example. Just if you're 18 and you're in work and you haven't ever thought about the word, give it a Google search after this. It's a pretty important thing you should at least put some consideration towards. No one ever fears, for example, not dying alone romantically, but dying alone in terms of friends. Like, I think people have, again, this is my understanding. I would love to see the statistics to back this one up. I feel like it's a hard one to track. I feel like people have fewer friends now than they did previously, or at least more friends are internet-based than real-life-based. And that is something that scares me, because I see it like, again, maybe it's because like as I'm growing older, like when you're in school, friends are thrown at you. You basically have to make friends, or like, it's so easy to make them, and then as you get older, it gets harder and harder and harder because you have less life in common. Basically, is my theory at least. But it gets harder and harder to make friends as you get older and older, and there's this kind of terrifying thing to me of like, man, yeah, I reckon, given that there are already some lonely old people now, by the time our generation, the antisocial generation, I would call it, like the number of people, subscribers, and what I've seen who are like, yeah, I'm also pretty, what's the word? Not antisocial, because antisocial is always misused. Asocial, I'm an introvert. I don't like people very much either, basically. That sort of person. The number of people like that I see on such a regular basis makes me realize that, like, yeah, this is a whole thing, a whole problem we've got brewing away, and without really even realizing it, right? Like, there's just we're gonna have a big crisis at some point, and we just kind of no one even thinks about it. And yeah, so I think one of the fears that we should have is not dying alone romantically, because whatever, like, old people. Fun fact, you don't like to imagine this because you think of your grandparents when you think old person, but old people find a lot of new romantic and more than romantic partners all the time. Look into the STD transmission rates as old people age, and you'll be like, yeah, that's gross. That's something I wish I didn't look up. However, I think making friends is really, really hard as you get older. And so, unrelated to this, or maybe entirely unrelated, one of the things that I've learned in life is that some people kind of use romantic and like social as the same kind of thing. And or maybe all people do this, because I guess with every romantic relationship you have a social aspect, right? And the reason I realize this is because I have two friends in my life that have basically had like 2 girlfriends each, like at my age, so 24 or something. There's 2 people in my life who have only had like basically like one long-term or 2 long-term girlfriends each, and both times they've both broken up. I don't know why they mirror each other so well. They're very different people, but that both times they've broken up, they wanted to hang out like constantly, like every single weekend, or like almost every single day, like for hours a day too. And I realized something from that like, maybe they're just the only ones who are transparent. Maybe it's just them, like, yeah, again, when they don't have a girlfriend, they need a friend or something like that. But it made me realize, like, maybe I should just, like, rather than, like, criticizing the strategy, why don't I use the same thing? Like, I could, maybe now, more than ever, even if I'm not willing to admit it, maybe I do need some friends. Maybe that's a thing that will cause me to be less, as people sometimes call it, crazy and wacky or whatever, as you might have seen the videos recently. So, I'm gonna, yeah, and honestly, I've always had the impression that, like, I try not to use this YouTuber thing as a way to make personal friends. And there's two reasons for that. One is because some number of people are going to try and use it to get favors. Like, hey, now we're friends. How about you put me in a video? Or like, hey, I'm going to use this. Like, I don't know. Like, and also there's the kind of like power dynamic. People want to, it seems like unnatural, right? We've never had a world of such parasocial relationships where you know so much about me, like you watching this video, if you care about the channel, which again, I assume you do because I mentioned that thing earlier. But there are so many parasocial relationships now where you have it's a one-way relationship, It's not a common thing, because at least with celebrities before the bondade, you kind of knew they didn't know about you. But to some extent, there's a lot of people who don't know about that gap. And so because of that, and because a lot of people feel like, oh, well, there's a power dynamic, and therefore it doesn't really work, a lot of people have the rule where they never date, or they never meet, or they never whatever fans. But I figure, this is a platform that allows me to reach people who have common interests to me. Like, rather than, like, trying to find people who have a common interest, but also another common interest, wouldn't it be cool if I use the fact that, again, I'm just going to be wholly transparent here, I would like to find, so I have some friends, like I usually have a very small, close-knit group of friends, but it means that if I want to do a certain activity of friends that isn't one of the basics, like food and drink, or party, I guess, it's very hard to like get friends on board with that sort of thing. And that's why I'm gonna like throw out the open invitation, which is a really, really bad idea right now, of like, hey, do you think, are you, okay, wait, first of all, are you over the age of 18? Would you like to be, again, this sounds so weird, and it almost sounds like a dating profile or something, but like, hey, would you like to be friends with me? Do you think we have things in common? Because we can't confirm that until we meet, of course. But if you do think that's true, send me, also wait, I'm gonna put because I personally, I'm not a big fan of like online relationships. I want to like fully engage with someone, or I don't really care about engaging with them. Like, I'll talk to you like once a day if we're not in person. Like, that's my life. I'm sorry. It's how I exist. But do you live within, because I've got a couple of hobbies that I have no friends that indulge in. So do you live within a couple of hours of a snow centre in the UK? Or let's just say London more broadly, because if you live near London, then you live a similar distance than I do to one of the indoor skiing places. Or do you just enjoy skiing already? Or do you really like board games and I guess like basically drinking or whatever? Like, do you have similar interests to me and in terms of those two things? Or here's the weirdest one, I really want to get into walking, right? Because right now my hobbies are basically, my biggest hobby is probably food. But the problem with food is you eat too much of it, and then like it's a problem. So I need to get like a counter hobby, like a hobby to burn stuff off. I love walking. I've stated before, but like it gets you around, and it's also exercise. I don't understand how that's true, but it totally is. So do you enjoy one of those three things I just mentioned, like winter sports, let's just call it, walking, or like board games or whatever? If you enjoy one of those three things and you live somewhat near London, send me a Facebook message, facebook.com/ivxtoycat. This is a terrible idea, but again, in the Let's Play, there's usually like pretty cool people in the comments. So this is my very bizarre social experiment that is definitely going to backfire in some way, but I just want it to be a thing that's out there. And yeah, if you don't have Facebook, I mean, one, you could sign up for Facebook, but if you insist, no, actually, every time I say please email me if you insist on not using Facebook, I hate emails. I hate emails with such a passion, with such vigor. I can't describe it to you. When people email me Sunday seeds all the time, a lot of them suck, but even the good ones, it's like, oh, I have to read this, and then I have to acknowledge it, and then a lot of the time I don't, but I feel terrible about it. Like, it's, I don't know why, but I'm just, email and me, we're not built for each other. We're not, I like Facebook because I can ignore it when I'm not on Facebook. But email, it like pushes to my phone, and I could fix that, but there's a lot of emails I do want on my phone, and like it's a whole tragedy. And I know I sound like an insane person, but maybe that's because I haven't met you yet, the the tamer to my insanity. So send me a Facebook message. There's a good chance I won't respond. There's actually right now. Okay, so here's how you don't feel bad about that, because some people would be like, so why won't you respond to everyone? And the reason I don't respond to everyone, besides the volume of the messages that sometimes comes in, and the fact that, like, sometimes I don't feel like talking. Okay, but if you want to see something interesting, Facebook tells you how many messages I respond to. Right now it's at 0% because I've not responded for like 8 months to people. Again, I'm terrible with social media. I only really use Twitter and YouTube and everything else. Like, good luck finding me. Because again, I'm not a social person, so social media is literally a hellhole to me. But yeah, send me a Facebook message, and if you then later check my response rate, if it goes up to 99%, I only ignored you, and you should reconsider your actions. If it's like 36%, then you know what? Maybe there's just something about you, or no. This is a terrible message to end the video on. But yeah, no, that's the thing. That is a thing. Thank you to anyone who decides to maybe want to get in touch. And in the meantime, we're gonna have to work on getting some more glass smelted. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly all the way to my desert. I left my giant shulker box. That would have been handy to bring with me. We're gonna go over to my my desert. We're gonna start chopping down a lot of sand. In fact, wait, you probably saw that in a previous video's background gameplay. It all ties in together. Almost all the survival background gameplay you see is gonna be from this world. So yeah, we're gonna chop down some more sand. We're gonna put it in these super smelters with my lava, and it's gonna be a fun time. A fun time that you. Actually, wait. Let's fill up the lava, because I'm not quite finished with what I want to talk about yet. Because yeah, I think you should fear the things you don't fear, and I'm not. I guess it's weird that I tied that into like, hey, would you like to be my friend? But I honestly do think like I've met so many cool people around the world that broke the expectation that like, hey, people on the internet are gonna be weird, and there's gonna be a lot of weird people that respond. And I'm sorry if you are a weird person and you feel like that's insulting to you. Because you're like, hey, I'm not that weird. I just asked to see feet pictures that one time. Like, also we have a lot of lava already. So we're just gonna fill up these 10 buckets in the nether, which is a pro tip I have learned recently. And then, so I hate slime so much. And then I can just kind of round this up and say, yeah, it's something very interesting. I'll let you know like in a couple weeks or so if this was a great idea or a terrible idea. But yeah, I have some interests. I don't have friends in those interests. And for the most part, I'm fine with that. But I also think, why not use it as an opportunity to try something very bizarre? Because most YouTubers, they see themselves as like hugely above their fans. And I don't want to pretend like we're on a perfectly even level, because it's, it's not true. It's a 1,000,000-to-1 relationship. It's never going to be like, oh yeah, every one of you is perfectly equal to everyone to me in every single way. Because in terms of like, the reach, there are differences and stuff. But I don't see... Again, a lot of YouTubers see their subscribers as children, or see their subscribers as that. Some of you are going to be children, and again, please only respond if you're over 18. I don't think I made that clear yet. Jesus. Yeah, if you're under 18, I'm sorry, but like as a YouTuber, especially Minecraft YouTube, like there's just so many other dodgy YouTube. I guess these are the same YouTubers who see themselves as above their subscribers, right? Or like, I'm gonna use this to commit some abuse or whatever. Those are some concerning people, and that is not a category I intend to belong to or be accused of belonging to. Apologies to you if that describes your age, but yeah, I feel like just for the sake of one, for optics, and two, like I guess like if you're 18 you probably have more free time than if you're under 18, right? Because in the UK at least we have mandatory school until you're it didn't used to be mandatory when I was 16, but in the year after I finished school, I think you have to be in school till you're 18. And if you're in school, then again let me tell you about something just entirely unrelated to all of that. So yeah, send me a message if you want to. Facebook.com/IBXSlayCat. Or don't send me a message. It's your choice. Do what you gotta do, man. But the thing that I find interesting is that like the best times to do anything is when school is in session. Because when school's in session, not only are all the children in school, all the young people, young adults even, as well, but also all the parents can't do stuff because school is in session. So if you want cheaper flights, like people question like, how do you travel so much? And if you're older and you have children, there's so many like life coupons basically that come by not having children. Watching movies during school time, there's no one else in there. Sometimes there's like one other person, but like you get to watch movies by yourself. You get to, and all I'm saying here is that if I do go skiing or go walking or whatever, I guess walking is probably a different example, but it's way better during, like if the more flexible your job, the cooler that is the better a friend that makes you. If we're gonna be picky here anyway, and why not, right? And the other thing is, obviously, like, yeah, try it. Just pro tip: if you want to do anything, do it during school hours. Oh, theme parks, man, theme parks suck during the summer holidays. If you've ever been to a theme park and you're under the age of 18, try going at some point during school. Like, you know, in the UK, it's like quite illegal. Like, you get fined if you get out of school. It's a whole thing. But if you live in a country where that's not true, or you're just willing to have your parents take that fine, I don't think I should recommend under 18 skip school, actually. Okay, let me rephrase this. At some point in your life, do things like the life lesson I've learned is like August and July are hellish months to get anything done. I was in the airport I've been on a lot of planes these last few days, and although a lot of them were very comfortable for reasons you'll see in a second channel video, you know, the flights that weren't very comfortable, they're very, very packed, filled with very, very... I don't even know how to describe it properly. But yeah, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I am not gonna... I hope that you do send me a message if you meet the criteria. I wonder what portion of people that is. Because again, a lot of people like to be like, oh yeah, well the only people who watch Minecraft are under 13. And a lot of people who say that are like, you know, like 20-year-olds or something. Because, you know, Minecraft is 10 years old. The people who found about it when they were teenagers 10 years ago would be this. I guess that'd be the same age as me, right? Like, I was 13 when I first found Minecraft. Now, oh, I guess I'd be 14. And now I'm 24. Jesus, I'm old. But yeah. Anyway, send me a message if you're interested. If you don't have a Facebook, you know, just get one. This is the same thing to Twitter, you know? Like, I get that you don't have a social media right now, but if you have a message to send to me, like, please do it on my terms. Don't make, like, if you have a Snapchat and you're like, oh, it's okay, you gotta get a Snapchat so I can message you. No, you get the Twitter so you can message me. Like, I don't know. It makes me seem so rude, and this whole video probably came across as super rude, out of touch, all the words that you don't want to be. But, you know, sometimes the truth be the truth. And sometimes that's not a good truth. But that doesn't mean that it's not the truth. Or does it? That's the question, I guess. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Give it a like if you liked it. Give it a share if you really liked it. And if you didn't like it, let me know in the comments why, and then I can ignore you. Actually, you know what the fun thing is? The Let's Play is the one comment section I read all the comments for, so if you think, like, hey, Toy Cat, that was a terrible idea, giving your Facebook page out and telling people to send you messages, let me know why that is in the comments. Or you could Facebook message it to me. Look at that, tying everything together. Also, yeah, I'm expecting some trolls. It'll be a fun thing to deal with. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you in another one. Goodbye.